Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Ken Smith and I'm really excited about today's video because we are going to start scratch building and kit bashing our stamp mill for our Barelee Makinet Railroad. So we're going to be using a couple of different kits. We're going to be using some styrene material as well as some wood. So let's get at it. So I want to start out by thanking Dave Vollmer for his kit bash scratch build of his 10 stamp mill that he put on his model railroad. I believe he started building it back in 2018 for the narrow gauge convention, and he used most of the material that we are going to use. Now I'm not going to try to copy his model, but he definitely built one that was ideal for my situation, and so a lot of his techniques I'm going to be using. Might add some of my own, but I definitely will be using a lot of his techniques. So that being said, one of the components was this old Tyco kit freight station that he used in the project. When this was on eBay, we don't have that many train shows in where I live. And this was on eBay. It was an open box. The box is obviously all torn up and whatnot. And the person that was selling it was very cordial. I reached out to them, and they only had a picture of this, and they had a picture of the box opened. Like that, and that was pretty much the way the listing was done. And to no fault of their own, they weren't a very big eBay seller, and so I reached out to them through the message system on eBay, which I encourage you to do exactly what I did. I asked them, I said, is there any way that you can take out everything out of the box, since the box is already open, and take a few pictures showing each of the individual sprues? And so they did, and they sent them to me, and she had it listed as a lighting set. There was no light system in it. Honestly, when I look at it, it doesn't say that it was lit. But in any event, I threw an offer, told her what I was looking at doing, and I threw I don't want to say a lowball offer, but I definitely threw her an offer that I felt was fair. And I told her that. I said, I'm not trying to lowball you, but, you have it listed as this, and the box is opened, and you're going to limit your market. And so, ultimately it's your decision, but this is what I'm willing to pay. And she replied back and said, yeah, that's fine. And so we agreed on a price. And the rest was history. So, again, she laid out everything kind of the way I'm laying things out. And everything was there. I also picked up a couple of Grandt line Gold Belt Series East Terrible Mill and Mining Company stamp mill. And in and of itself, this is a great kit. It's no longer produced by Grandt Line. It's produced now by San Juan Details, and I'll throw a link down in the description, and you can check that out as well. But the kit comes with pretty much everything that you see here, and it's a small stamp mill. It fits in a great spot, but I wanted something a little bit bigger. And when I discovered this kit bash, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And so let me show you inside this kit. So we got the package open. We'll just kind of move things out. Now, when you initially look at this and you look at the picture, you can see it's really not that tall. It's not that big at all. And not a problem. We've got two, so we can kind of blend them together, get a little bit more interesting height and whatnot. But let me show you something out of the Tyco kit. And this is why when I saw this online at the narrow gauge convention, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. While the side material isn't identical, that's okay. It's close enough to perfect for me. And so, you know, when they built these stamp mills and whatnot, you know as well as I do, they probably did some expansions, and so, you know, it's perfect. Plus, I like the fact that when we get done, we're going to be doing some different roofing materials, like it was added on and built on and whatnot. But the basic material still looks the same. And that's what really caught my eye. That's what really made things really exciting when I looked at it. And so this is the reason why we're going to go ahead and kind of kit bash everything together. So as we look inside the kit and we look at a picture for reference, I'll try to put things by there. You can see that, you know, we've got our sides and we've got the different buildings that kind of build all these different little additions. And this is what makes any building spectacular, when you have layers. And that's the way you should build your model railroad too, by the way. You want layers. You want layers of scenery. You want things that going up. You want things going down. You want things going off to the sides and whatnot. And that's what makes things really visually impactful and really interesting. So that's what we're going to accomplish with this. So you can see when I open up the second pack, the was actually casted in a different color. And that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. The interesting thing, though, is that for videoing and also actually for my own eyes, I was able to see exactly what I needed to cut. Now, we've almost doubled the size of this structure, and yet the original structure would have had a 5-inch footprint. And by doing this extension up this way, we've increased our footprint only to 8 inches. So I've this will clearly fit on the track plan that I have, the layout that I've got designed. So I'm really excited just doing something simple like this. Now what I'm going to do at this juncture is I'm going to trace this out on paper, and then I'm going to start building kind of a cardstock mock-up just to kind of get an idea of what this can look like when we're all done. After doing a quick tracing of the two pieces together, you can see right here that this is the area on the base model that I'm going to need to cut in order to do the rest of the configuration. And if you know, paper's 8.5 inches wide, so our footprint is a little bit bigger, or a little bit under 8.5 inches. I literally put this right on the edge of the paper so that I had a square spot to begin with, and just kind of did my tracing like you see right there. So sometimes what looks good on paper doesn't look good in reality, and so as soon as I got done just building this little cardboard mock-up, I quickly realized that this was going to end up being bigger than I wanted it to be. And when I mean by bigger, I meant taller. Considering where my bench work is going to end up being, I really felt that this was still going to occupy a little bit more height than I wanted, and I wasn't going to get the nice little different buildings to kind of make it look like it's compact and yet has a lot of nice stuff going on. So I go back to the drawing board, but this is exactly why you do this before you cut anything. So thought long and hard about this and came up with a second draft. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use just one stamp mill kit for the sides. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of kit bashing right here, and we're going to use some additional parts out of the stamp mill kit to put a false wall, or a wall I should say, it's not a false wall, a wall up here with some windows. And then this extends it out a little bit more, gives, again, some visual interest. But we've shortened this up a little bit. We've made it a little bit taller, or I shouldn't say it's a little bit taller. It's almost as tall. We shaved off about 1/2 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, but we lost here 1.5 inches. So this gives us some breathing room, and I kind of like this design a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and make up a new mock-up and see what we've got. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through everything that we've got. So this is kind of our mock-up right now. This is going to be the stamp mill itself. And so what I've done is I'm setting the parts aside that I definitely am going to use. On this roof of the stamp mill, I'm taking the dormer kit that came from that kit, and that's going to be right about there. So I set that aside. The railroad cars that you see up here, I'm going to get some additional material, and we're going to make the shed where the finished ore gets loaded up into box cars and then moved out. This is going to be our ore house, and that's going to feed into our stamp mill. Now I've got this box right here because this is kind of interesting. I've got a little small section of the train station that I'm going to use to just kind of add another visual interest component there. So kind of going from the ore house to maybe through the transfer house and into the stamp mill. Show you some cribbing to just kind of give you an idea of what that's going to look like. And I just folded up some paper to kind of give you an idea of what the roof looks like. So what I did is, as I was sketching all of this out, on the back side of pieces, I started indicating where they were going to go. So left side, stamp mill top, right side, stamp mill. So if we look over here, this is going to go right there. So it will kind of look like this. So that kind of matches our paper. Okay? All right, so again, I marked on the back side of these so I wouldn't go stir crazy trying to figure out, okay, what piece is going where and whatnot. So then, notice over here it says front stamp mill bottom wall. So this is actually going to go right there. Okay? And this little dormer or lean-to, that's actually this right here. So no need to mark that because I know that where that's going to go. Then on over here, this is actually out of the Tyco train freight station. So I'm cutting these walls. Over here I've got ore front, and then back of the stamp. Originally, I was going to use this as the back of the stamp mill. I still might, because I like the idea of the freight door. I currently have this marked as the front of the stamp mill, and I have that marked as the back of the stamp mill. This is a little bit taller, but I really like the idea of the freight door. So we might just forego and use that. Like I said, I like the idea of the freight door back there. But again, we'll see. The other option, and I think this is actually the better option, is this ends up going here to that center section if I cut it right here. Okay, and then this goes in the back here, so we've got a door. Alrighty, and then this goes in the front section if we put it right there. So that just means that I ended up cutting it right off the edge of the door. Either one of those two options I kind of like, so I'm still undecided as to what I'm going to do there. As far as the center section roof, that is this right here. So this piece is going to end up going over here, like you see there, and this piece is going to end up going over here, like you see there. And you're not going to see this freight door. You're really not even going to see this window. You'll only see this window, and you won't see anything here except for this little bit that sticks out right there. And I was thinking about putting a door right there if I end up not... well, I may just put a door right there anyway, just for the sake of having a door. So that is kind of how I have everything laid out. So that being said, this is what's really, really cool. All of this that you see right there, that is everything that I've got to play with. So I can add other little structures kind of scattered around, you know, a little structure maybe here, another structure over here. I could even add maybe even another lean-to down here. So there's a lot of stuff that I could do on the sides and on the front. I'm not really going to worry too much about the back because this is going to be in a position where no one's going to see the back side of this. So there's nothing for me that I'm concerned about really on the back side. I left the cribbing up there. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not, but I plan on having cribbing going almost all the way straight down, kind of the way the Argo Mill ore house kind of looks. This is, again, the track going into the car shed, and then this will be slightly elevated. The main line will be down here. So this gives me, if our bench is 2 feet in width, and our main line is right here, we have all of this space back here, in theory, where we can hide a train as it goes by, and this can end up being a lift-out section. So I have access to get to the track if I need to. There's just a lot of options. The beauty part of it is that while this is very wide, this is really about a 20-inch footprint. If I go about 1.5 inches on either side, it's about a 20-inch footprint. But depth is only 13 inches. And that includes where the car shed and the track for the car shed is going to be. So we've made a kind of really interesting looking template of what we're going to end up doing. And I'm really excited about how that's going to end up looking.
Sometimes my mind doesn't shut off like I think it should. For example, I wondered what I could do with the other stamp mill sides. Surely I can figure out a way to use these, right? I went back to my resource photos and I remembered Yankee Girl mine. I also remembered historical photos from the Denver Public Library collection of what it looked like during its operational days. Seeing the head frame completely enclosed and windows up along the sides, I knew in a moment that I could make a version of this with my leftover parts. I quickly grabbed parts that I had set aside and began putting them next to each other. I even grabbed a sprue just so that I could get a quick visual for the side. That was all I needed to start dedicating leftover parts to create a similar version of an iconic structure that is still standing, albeit more exposed now than its original form back in its heyday. Building a realistic mill and mine scene helps when you have reference photos. I was fortunate to live in Colorado for over 2 decades. During that time, I built a huge library of mines and mills that were still standing or had been restored. Being a photographer, I knew that there would come a time when things that were not preserved would eventually disappear. Time and elements are always the key factors when it comes to structures left unpreserved. Then there is the access to something that can change. It can be limited or even eliminated. A case in point was the Argo Mill in Idaho Springs and the American Eagle Mine in Victor. When I first visited the Argo Mill, it was a self-guided tour. You could literally spend hours roaming around the grounds and inside the stamp mill. It is now a guided tour, and you are moved through the structure at a quick pace now. The American Eagle Mine in Victor was similar in regards to self-guided. However, the second time I went back, it was closed off to the public and access was eliminated altogether. It's for reasons like this that I made it a point to build a portfolio of photos that would not only assist me, but other modelers too. If you are watching this video, I have a special offer for my collection that contains not only what you see here, but thousands of other photos that cover the steam and diesel eras that you might also model. Be sure to check out the link that I put in the description. For less than the cost of a good reference book, you will have a collection that has well over 35,000 reference photos that include many close-up detail photos to assist you in your modeling.
So even after I've set all of the parts aside, not only for the mill, but also for the Yankee Girl mine, I have this all left over. And I'm excited about that because as you saw in those historical photos, there were definitely some smaller buildings that were set aside. I've got another lean-to here, and I've got 2 small sheds and obviously all the roofing material for that as well. So this is really coming together quite nicely. I'm actually pretty excited. This is going to be a major focal point of our Barelee Makinet Railroad. It's really hard to believe that with just 2 of these kits and this Tyco kit, all of this is made. So we've come a long way from our original cardstock model. As you can see, you've got a sneak peek into our next video. Have a wonderful day and you all be blessed.